What's up, everybody? This is Marnick Vandebroek, and welcome to a new episode of the Stand Up Talk. And I have a very special guest. Again, a special guest, like I said, wouldn't invite you if you weren't special. So we have a gentleman. We had with Loreen last episode. Was a fantastic lady. Talked about social media presence. If you hadn't listened to it before, check out the episode. But now we're diving in something completely different. And the person I'm talking about is the Fresh Prince of Purpose. I used to call him Captain America. You will find out. Find out why. And some even call him the new Benny Brown. So, nobody laughing like, what the hell? If you know Benny Brown, you probably already have a suspicion of what we're going to dive into. But today we're going to talk about mindset, about purpose, about making it matter more, like he calls it. And I am talking about nobody else than Sasha Sadri.
Oh, man.
There he is.
What's going on, brother?
Yeah,
How are you?
Very good. How are you? You look pumped. Like I said, you have the bohemian background going on. It's like you're living the life.
Man, if we can't go on vacations, we're bringing vacations to our living room. You know what I mean? That's just how we're doing it.
That's the.
No, man, I'm pumped to be here, man. Really honored even to be here. Super excited. About to dive into some good stuff. So thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Nice. You're welcome. I'm happy to be here. I was so happy that you said, I'm going to do this. You didn't even think about it. It was like, yeah, get me on the podcast. Let's go. So I live up to the expectations that you're having.
Yes, sir.
In every episode, like the warm up, because some people might be like, oh my God, it's Sasha Sadri. He's on the podcast. And some people will be like, who the hell is this guy? No clue. Look at him, what he's going to talk about purpose. So do some introductions also for you to warm up to the questions. Like I always said, I never give them up front, so you couldn't prepare, but there's no right or wrong. They're just choosing, and they tell a bit about who you are. So are you ready?
Awesome. I'm super ready.
Super ready. Here we go. What would you choose? Would you rather get free LA Lakers courtside seats or a fully paid city trip to a city of your choice?
Man, Lakers for sure. Come on now. Yeah, bro. Like I'm too die hard. Like I've been a little too busy lately to keep track of them, but if I get an opportunity to sit courtside at the Lakers game, we'll just go to we'll do the city trip next weekend. I'll just put it that way.
There you go. You'll pay for the city trips. Just let me go.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We'll do the city trip, but we have to go to the Lakers game.
Lakers courtside. Next question. Very simple one. But seeing you lived a very long time in the US, you also hear it in your accent, is do you put on your fries, when you eat fries, do you put mayonnaise or ketchup? It's a Pulp Fiction question. Mayonnaise or ketchup on your fries?
I put ketchup on my fries. Yeah, man.
I don't know why.
I don't know. I don't even know why. Like, I guess growing up between California and Belgium, I got exposed to both of them.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate both of them, but if I had to pick, I'll probably pick ketchup. Like, yeah. What about you?
I would do mayonnaise. But yeah, born and raised in Belgium, there was no question. Ketchup is like, you take something from the store, you take ketchup because some children or godchildren might pass and they want something to do with ketchup, but mayonnaise is the obvious choice.
Yeah, dude. Like I can appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. I love me some mayonnaise, some Belgian mayonnaise. Like if you have mayonnaise in the US, can I cuss on the I won't cuss. That crap. Yeah, like that shit is disgusting. Like it's really terrible. Like I don't know what they do with their mayonnaise. Maybe that's why I got turned off by it like back in the day when I was younger. American mayonnaise is no good. Like you'll go to, I don't know if you've been, but like you'll go to McDonald's, Burger King, In-N-Out Burger. Can I have some mayonnaise with that? They're like, wait, what? They don't even know what it is. 9 out of 10 times. So, and if they do have it, it's terrible. So stick to the ketchup.
It's just a safety choice, isn't it? It's just
yeah, for sure.
I used to call you Captain America because I didn't know you very well, and you walked into where we had our shared office when you were still working for another company. You walked in, you were super ripped, you were tall, you were from the US, And it was like, this is the Captain America. Just put him in the suit, give him the shield, and he's done. So what would you choose if you could fight evil in this world? Looking at the Marvel universe, what weapon would you choose to fight evil? Would it be the shield of Captain America? Would it Iron Man's suit? Would it be Thor's hammer?
Ooh. I think it would be Thor's. Was it Mjolnir? Mjolnir, whatever.
Yeah.
I think it would be that, because you need to be worthy.
There you go.
Right? You need to be worthy to be able to wield the hammer. And the way things have changed for me personally, my personal life, the past couple of years with my own like transformation, and we'll get to that later, I'm guessing. I just want to be worthy, you know what I mean? So sure, I can put on a suit that everyone can put on. Sure, I can, whatever else is out there. I don't know what the other superpowers are. I could turn into a Hulk. Yeah, nothing special about it. Mjolnir requires a worthy person. So I'll go with that one.
Good answer. Good answer. Nice. And then the last one, and you already mentioned that you come from California. Would you, because you're into fitness, which
yes, sir,
pump iron on if you could choose Venice Beach, local gym, or at home? What is your preference? Because everybody that does, if you're not into fitness in a gym, it's really hard to work out in another gym that is not your gym. So what is your go? Local, home, or somewhere Venice Beach or Gold's Gym or whatever?
I will tell you, like there's something about going to your gym, your home gym, not the gym at home, but to your regular gym, the gym you always visit every day. There's something about seeing the guys, seeing the girls that you always see, like the little community feeling, that community aspect that you get there to push each other and learn from each other. There's something about it. Now that I have my own little home gym, it's a big win. I don't have to, change, drive there, drive back here, get ready. You lose a good 2 to 3 hours out of your day. Whereas here, I can just boom, within 2 minutes, I can be working out and get back to work or whatever. So I don't know. I miss the gym. I miss my California gym a whole lot because it's just awesome.
I think now people know a bit more about you. We know that you are a Lakers fan. We know that you love basketball, that you would prefer basketball over travel, even though that you are very fond of traveling and
love it.
There you go. We know that you love your ketchup on your on your fries, that you would love to be handle Thor's hammer because you need to be worthy, with also links to your business, which we'll come into. And you're a fitness enthusiast and you love working out in the US, but also in your home gym. So in just a small conversation for a couple of minutes, we already learned a lot about Sasha Sadri. But now it's time, my friend, to dive into the real topics here. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening, if you're loving and you want to hear and you talk purpose mindset and making your life, your business, your job, whatever you're doing matter more, then this is the episode for you. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, welcome to the Stand Up Talk.
Are you listening? Damn.
All right, welcome back to the Stand Up Talk. This is still Marnick Vandebroek with Sasha Sadri. Sasha, we talked about your being from the US, the basketball, and we touched upon it a bit that people have a suspicion that it's going to be about the mindset, the purpose, living to your full potential. But in short, for people that don't know you, what do you do? Because I already read it before, but this is what I saw on Facebook, like helping underachieving and bored 9-to-5ers overcome their limitations to get more out of work and life. Tell me more. What do you do? What is that all about?
I mean, I would call myself a life coach, but I don't like that word, right? So that's a struggle. So what I do, I call it life strategies. Okay. So I help people with life strategies. I help people with creating healthy habits, with unlearning bad habits, which is the first step, unlearning. I help people finding and building confidence, and goal setting, goal defining, goal accomplishing, the whole process behind it, right?
Yeah.
It's at the end of the day, it's defining your whys, finding your purpose, that kind of stuff. That's what I actively and systematically invest in every day now, trying to help as many people as possible, because we have a vision, we have a mission that we're on, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Nice. Yeah. And it's remarkable that the whole, you said, I'm actually a life coach, but I don't want to be called a life coach. And that's what you hear, the coaching, even though it's a very positive word, it got this ring to it that now people are like, ooh, a coach, get away from it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't give a shit what anyone thinks or says, right? Like, it doesn't matter to me. It's just, I feel misaligned or something when I say I'm a coach, because I don't want to coach. I just want to be on your team. I want to hold you accountable. I want to push you. So I just say, I do life strategies, whatever that means. I like the verb to be guiding, maybe mentoring more, pushing, inspiring, rather than coach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've been a basketball coach, and it's a different relationship, right? So that's how I interpret it. I don't care what other people do or think or say or perceive it as. It does have a stigma or a connotation to it, but
I like that quote. You should put it in a book if you ever write a book. I don't want to be your coach. I just want to be on your team. Bam, best selling.
Hey man,
yeah.
that's why you're there.
There you go. It's your words, but I really like that. I don't want to be your coach. I want to be on your team. And now you want to be on people's teams. You want to do life strategies. It sounds pretty straightforward in that people know what this will be about. Also, when you check your website, it's pretty straightforward what you want to achieve with them, but it's not so straightforward to achieve it too, because you're probably in the hardest business there is, finding people's purpose, giving them life strategies, unlearning habits. We all know how hard that is. How did you, before we go into how you do it, and if you can give some tips to people that are listening right now, how do you get into this? Because I talked before, I saw you in the shared office. You were in the startup, software, platform, social media business, and now you're active in this. How did you go from that to becoming a person on someone's team?
Long story short, or I'll try to be. I was kind of sick. There's two things that kind of converged and came together. One, I got disillusioned by working regular jobs. I got fed up. I was sick of the feeling of having a ceiling kind of placed on my potential. It created friction in my head, right? Like, I couldn't cope in a regular 9-to-5 anymore. It was rubbing me the wrong way, and that was the first thing. And obviously, like, working in a startup, working in different teams for different companies in the past, there's always office politics. I don't care what people say or do, or hey, we're this or that company. It's always there. There's always the more alpha male, toxic, masculine guy. There's always the quiet, more output-oriented person that's more in the backseat of the meeting room. There's all these different issues in working a 9-to-5 and working in teams that, for me personally, really pushed me to the brink of, I don't know, something not good. I didn't want to deal with that anymore, right? And the second thing for me, I hit rock bottom. Let's just put it that way, in my personal life. I'd never been a person that was self-aware. I didn't know what my flaws were. I felt all these things, again, like working these different jobs. I knew there was something in me that wasn't right. Yeah. But I had to turn inward before I could move forward. And I did that after I hit rock bottom. And people have two choices in life. You wait until you hit rock bottom, or you rationally figure things out. Oh, maybe I should rationally invest in myself and blah, blah, blah. But a lot of times, like in my case, you have to eat shit first before you figure it out. So those two things, like kind of getting burned out of, the 9-to-5 and then hitting rock bottom, was the turning point where I said, okay, what do I need to do now? Like, okay, I started figuring things out, because I hurt I hurt the people that were near and dear to me, that meant the world to me. And I was either going to lose it or I was going to change. So I chose to change. And that threw me on this journey of self-exploration.
And how do you, because I do agree with most of the time, because we don't like change in general as a human being. We're not very fond of it. And we only change, look at the whole society. We only change if we put our backs against the wall and then we start thinking differently. Like, for example, remote working. Everybody has been preaching remote working for ages. Everybody like, yeah. Now COVID came and says, here's your back against the wall, your rock bottom, like you call it. And everybody works remote. We change. We want to. We can change if we have that. Most of the time, it goes too far. So I do agree with that. The tripping point. Looking at your 9 to 5, do you think? Of course, it's personal for everybody, but was it the 9 to 5, the corporate company world that drove you there, or was it just you were in there, but you were actually not listening to yourself, like you said, and you happened to be in a company job, but was it exactly working? Because a lot of people are in a 9 to 5. So should they all quit?
No, definitely not. This is a very personal and on an individual level, right? Like, it's very different for everyone. There's no one set formula for everyone. It wouldn't make sense for everyone to go be overachieving entrepreneurs. That's not, or solopreneurs. That's not a thing. I'm not saying that. For me, I wasn't where I needed to be emotionally, mentally, for sure. I could have been at the best company in the world with the best circumstances and the best perfectly functioning teams, and I would have still felt I need to do more. I need to like figure things out. I just didn't know what to figure out, right? So I had to turn inward, man. Like, and I had to start figuring myself out, which luckily I was able to do. But I'm hoping that people are out there. We have to invest in yourself. If you're struggling at work and you're getting up in the morning, it's super important to know why you're doing something. Why are you getting up? Because you can be a motivated person naturally, intrinsically, and that works for 90% of the time. 90% of days, it's fine. But what about the shitty, snowy, cold days that you're feeling kind of under the weather, you're sick?
Yeah.
It's your whys, your purpose, your vision for life that's gonna like push you to actually perform that day. And that's what separates, even in your 9 to 5. This is not an entrepreneurial statement here that I'm making, but if you want to shine and be invaluable to your team and to your company, that 10%, that having that why will make you stand out, right? So that's what I needed.
Stand out, boom.
Exactly. That's a full circle, man.
Sorry to interrupt.
That's what I was lacking, right? Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I knew I wanted big things in life, but I wanted to make it matter more. I didn't have the tools in my bag to figure out what the hell I was supposed to do.
All right. So if correct me if I'm wrong. So if I understand it correctly, also for the people listening, if they look at their own life right now, hope they're all super pumped and that they're enjoying and have their purpose, of course. But we also in society, a lot of people are struggling with this, and you can probably relate to what you're saying. So if I understand it correctly, is not necessarily people's, if they're an entrepreneur or employee, doesn't really matter, their work, their professional life, but is more like, are you connecting to yourself? Are you getting up in the morning motivated, whatever you're doing? And that you found out that I am not connecting well with myself. I have no clue why I'm actually doing the things in my life that I'm doing. And it's not so necessarily the 9 to 5 or the company. I just happen to be there and it might not be the thing for me, but it's more, if people are struggling right now and they're listening, like I said, tell me if I understand this correctly. It's ask yourself first, personally, what do I want to do? Why am I doing the things that I'm doing? And then see all the elements you have in your life, and do they match that?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
That's pretty much what I'm saying. Like, envision a goal, have a vision for your life. Right now, we can get to that in a little bit, or right now, it doesn't matter. You got to create that vision, because without it, you're gonna suffocate. You're going to drown. You're not going to keep it up. And at the end of the day, if you're struggling, ask yourself, why am I doing this? If you have a clear answer, it's fine. If what you're doing between 9 and 5 is bringing you closer to that, just be happy, be content, regardless of if you had a bad meeting or, like your coworker had a bad day and kind of snapped at you. It's fine, because you getting one step closer to where you want to be, to creating your vision, to making that a reality. So yeah, that's absolutely right.
Right. Like life is not always going to be unicorns and rainbows. You're always going to have shitty days, but like you said, you can cope better with those days if you're doing it for the right reasons. Like I also quit my job. I'm poorer than ever. If I wanted to be money wise rich, I should have stayed in my previous job. But you take all the shit because you get up in the morning like, I'm doing this for a reason.
Obstacles, and challenges are going to happen. They're going to occur. They're going to come onto your path. You can do everything right. You can plan and overplan and be a perfectionist. You're still going to face challenges. You're still going to have to overcome obstacles. And the biggest mindset shift for me came when I decided to embrace them and actually start seeking them out. Because I know now, like, if something scares me, that's exactly where I should go. And I know this is cliche, but if you actively like focus on it, be like, oh, I feel this right now. Oh, this really scares me. Or let's say Marnick hits me up and he's like, hey, you want to jump in the podcast? If I even for a fraction of a second feel like that kind of makes me nervous, it's like, don't even think about it, just do it. And that's exactly what I did, right? Like, I don't care. Let's just go, because I know that's where growth happens. All growth happens after overcoming some sort of obstacle or fear. So if you're even if you have a perfect vision in life, you're going to have to overcome obstacles. So you're better off embracing it, even looking for them, and just kill it.
It's good. Now we also know why you were so enthusiastic to come on the podcast. You were like, there's friction. Let's do this.
Exactly.
Yes, yeah.
That's a driving force, man. I'm telling you, fear. I've converted fear from being like a suffocating force to being a force of fuel, right? Like it's just fueling.
Does that mean you have to jump on everything like that scares you? Like if I say to you, I'm not putting this in a ridiculous perspective, but just does this mean to you that, for example, if I say to you, you're afraid of heights, and I say, let's go bungee jumping, that you should say yes to bungee jumping?
No. If it's in line with your values and what you enjoy and what you enjoy doing, then by all means do it. But don't let your monkey brain, your emotional immune system, try to protect you from something that's not going to kill you. Because at the end of the day, when I'm like, this is something that everyone, even people listening, should do. Like, if you're hesitant, if you don't know whether or not you should pursue something, ask yourself, is this going to kill me? I'm not talking about like a violent or critically dangerous situation, but like everyday decisions. Ask yourself, is this going to kill me? And I can guarantee you that in 99% of the cases, you're not going to die. If you are going to die, please don't do it. It's just, that would be my advice. But in most cases, you're not. So just do it. And this goes for getting that new job, going after that new job, or say someone comes and recruits you and you're like, oh, I'm pretty comfortable here in my current job. It's like, just do it. Like, I know you kind of like, you have this kind of seedling in your mind that wants to do it. Just do it. Just take the action. Action cures everything. Imperfect action cures everything.
That's true. That's good. That's good advice. However, in roller coasters and ski lifts, I did think a lot of times that I was going to die. We're gonna die. That's what I yelled the whole day. But like you said, I didn't die.
Yeah, you most likely won't die. But I mean, I have to say most likely, because someone's going to hit me up next week and be like, hey man, I did this thing. And my brother, like, I don't want to, that's not what I'm here for. That's not what I'm saying, guys.
Should be a disclaimer in the episode, but
Yeah.
I can definitely relate. Like if it scares you, and I think that's the good point that you're making answering my question is, if it scares you, ask yourself, don't jump on everything. Be like Jim Carrey in Yes Man, the movie. Don't do that. He said yes to everything. That's the whole plot.
Yeah.
That's funny, but it's that's not the right way. But I do like the fact that you said, if it scares you, ask yourself, do I want to do this, and do I need to do this because it aligns with who I am and where I want to go? Yes. Okay, go for it. As long as it doesn't kill you. And if not, and it's actually just something that scares you, but it will not help you in any way, then you just stay away from it.
No, exactly. And that's what we do with goal setting, right? Like we identify the goals that are perfectly aligned with your values, what you enjoy doing, what you're good at, and where you want to go. And then every day, like it has to be a specific goal. Like people make the mistakes of setting goals and then being too vague. Vague goals kill happiness. Vague goals are a big, big, big no-no. Don't ever set vague goals. Don't say, hey, I would like to get fit. No, say I want to lose 19 pounds by June 1st, right? Like that's how you like set a goal. And at the end of the day, if you have that goal, 19 pounds by June 1st, it makes it easy to just say, okay, should I do this? Yes or no? Yeah. Well, is it aligned with your goal, with the vision? If not, just don't do it.
Is goal the same? Because I would really want to dive into goals. Because definitely also it's January, beginning of the new year. We just had Blue Monday, so everybody's resolutions and goals are out the window. But is goal and purpose, is that the same thing? Or is goal part of the purpose?
Yeah, goals are, I would say it's the latter. Like goals are more part of the purpose. I think, I don't know how I define it. To me, purpose is having like clear whys, not just one, because the way I do it, and I learned this from, I think my mentor, like my personal like mentor, and the way we describe it is stack your whys. So every morning I stack my whys. So I have my personal whys, I have my loved ones whys, and I have my global whys, right? And I guess that's maybe a little entrepreneur centric, but it doesn't have to be. You know what I mean? Maybe if you're working in a nonprofit organization, you can have that same thing. Or if you're working a 9 to 5, where that's how I approach the purpose thing, right? Like it's those 3 levels of why make me want to like get up in the morning, because I genuinely cannot wait in the morning to get up and get started, because I look at my what I do the first 10 minutes is like visualize my whys. So I imagine buying my dad or my mom that house, right? And that's a material thing. If you only focus on material things, it's not going to happen, obviously. It's not going to work. But then global wise, I want to be able to, for example, help 1 billion or 1 million underachieving people become the best version of themselves, right? I want to help children from underprivileged immigrant backgrounds here in Belgium, right? Like those are global whys. And then my personal whys is like, can I do a 50K month? Can I do a 5K month? Can I do a whatever, right? Can I help my girlfriend do this or that? And that stack of whys, like you got to stack your whys. And that to me creates purpose, because you know exactly what you're doing and why you're doing it. I don't know if that answers a question, kind of.
Yeah, definitely. And I really like the fact that you said stacking your whys. You're stacking book quotes in this episode. Just write them down. Stacking your whys is what do you need to do in the morning? You got to stack your whys. That's what Sasha Sadri says. I really like that. But
Good.
then the number one question, and not to put you on the spot, because I do agree with everything you said. If you want to stack your whys, I can imagine people listening right now, and we're going to go into the goals that we were talking about. I'm pulling you a bit back because I want to first pure out the purpose part before we define it into goals.
Mhm.
I can imagine, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I can look at the heads of the listeners, but that you're listening. You're like, okay, makes sense, Sasha. Stacking my whys. I need to connect with myself. I'm just repeating what you said. Connect with myself. See in the morning what am I doing? Why am I doing it? And does my 9 to 5 job or my company or whatever, does it fit that? Am I facing my fears? Makes sense. How then do you? And that's probably what you help people with. And you're probably not going to be able to answer it on the spot. But how do you define those whys? Because I can imagine waking up in the morning and saying, Sasha said, I need to find my purpose. 3, 2, 1, go. And blank. How do you go? How do you go? How do you know you found your purpose? What is your purpose? Or is that a
You're
question too?
you're asking. No, you're asking like, how do I make that list of whys?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the exercise that I use when I work with clients is you're gonna know this, like Ikigai. Ikigai, like it's a Japanese word for doing what you love.
All right.
Right.
So let's take this. I'll do if I know it. So ask me again. Ikigai? Yes, of course I know. No, I don't know it.
Ikigai. So like everyone has an Ikigai, you're just not aware of it. So I try to I try to explain it as to the best of my ability. Yeah. So imagine like it would have been great if I had like something to draw, but like it's imagine, yeah, I'll have my assistant just bring it in. Just kidding. So imagine 4 circles, like a Venn diagram, 4 circles. One is what you love, right? Mm-hmm. The other is what you're good at. The third one is what you get paid for. And the last one is what the world needs, right? In those circles, like, you can start writing all your personal stuff that you are good at, that you think the world needs, that you are currently getting paid for, and whatever else that things that you love, right? I think that was the fourth one. Yeah. In the middle of those 4, that's what you should be pursuing. That's your Ikigai. That's your reason for being, right? And that gets very philosophical or whatever, a little tree huggy, kumbaya, but it's that thing really works. And I see it like when I work with people, and I'm like, it takes a little while. It's like, okay, what are your skills? What do you currently do? What are you good at? Because if you do, for example, if you just do what you love and what you're good at 2 out of 4 circles, then that's just passion. If you just do what you love and you look at what the world needs and you go after that, that's just a mission. It's not necessarily going to keep you either fulfilled or put bread on the table. It's when you have all 4 of them, when you have it figured out. So I highly recommend to anyone to look into Ikigai. There's plenty of articles online, YouTube for sure. I can't imagine there not being a bunch of Ikigai videos. It's super powerful. And if you honestly can fill out what you're good at, what you love, like you'll figure it out. And you will then, let's say for me, it's reach 1 billion people and help them be the best possible version of themselves, doing what I love, and that is motivating, inspiring, and guiding people. That is my Ikigai, because it comes from all 4 of those circles.
Yeah, it's good, and people are willing to pay for it. So you also have like what the world needs, and they're waiting for it, and they need. That's, yeah. You say it's philosophical and fluffy, but I think it's one of the. I honestly, if you say the circles that you see returning, I didn't have no clue that it was Ikigai. But there you go. That's what the podcast is for. I learned something new, but I don't feel it as fluffy. Why? Because I think it's one of the most concrete examples of how to define your purpose. Because most of the time you hear people talking about find your purpose, find your why, and people are like, yeah, and they go to a conference and they heard the why, and then someone pops up a sign in Cynic golden circle and link it to business, and everybody goes home and like, what's my why? I have no clue what my why, what,
Right.
and then it dies. But now you say, do these 4. Does the world need it? Do you love it? Is it? Help me out here.
Am I good at it?
Are you good at it? That's it. And then the 4th one,
Get paid for it.
there you go. And if you do these 4, it makes it really concrete because, like you said, it's not just, hey, I do something I love and nobody's waiting for it. Well, then you're going to be very lonely and underpaid, and in the end, it will die. But it will also not be just getting paid for it because then you're in your 9 to 5 and you get the money, but you're dying inside. So I think this is a really good stuff. I really love it.
That's a powerful one. That changed my kind of like vision and view of the whole purpose thing. I was like, oh wait, all right. So ever since then, I've known like the path I'm on is the right one. And if you say, okay, but what if things change, and what if like in 6 months from now I feel different? Well, then you feel different. Like it's fine. You know, people, we get disillusioned. Shit happens in life and we change or we evolve. You know, we don't figure this thing like life, we don't figure it out. You know what I mean? It's not figure outable. So if it happens and if you're not aligned, you know, that word is super important. I just want people to like use that word alignment more because it's super important to feel it, right? So when you notice it, that your values aren't aligned with your goals anymore, change it. Don't beat yourself up. People are so worried about, oh no, what are my family members going to think? What are my friends going to think if let's say, and this is not going to happen, but let's say in a year from now, I want to become a software developer. Like I'm just going to do that. Like, I don't give a shit what anyone thinks or says, but people get so caught up in their own heads, so worried about, no, but I've committed to this. No, like stop it. Be consistent as hell for 6 months at least. Do everything you can. So like at the end of the day, you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I did everything I could. And you're proud and you're feeling confident that you did that. Yeah. Don't go flip-flopping around. Don't be me for 10, 20 years. You don't want to do that. But, you know, if it's not working out and you don't feel aligned, you feel friction within you, just do the Ikigai again and see what you end up with.
Yeah, change it up. I used to be jealous of some people that for example grew up just random, making this up, but they were jealous that their father being a baker, and then at an early age they found out they also wanted to be a baker, and they studied for it and they became the baker and took over the shop, and they were super happy, like so passionate about baking. And if you look at your Ikigai, let's call it that, they got paid, they're good at it because they taught it, they love doing it, and the world needs it. The world needs bread and everything they did. And I was always jealous because they're like, oh my God, they know exactly what they want to do and they know what they want to do for the rest of their life. Amazing. But now looking at it evolving, I really like the thing that you said, like people change, your environment changes, and also your purpose can change over time. But like you said, once you're in there, you want to commit and be like, yeah, this is what I chose. I'm going to stay here. And I think that keeps a lot of people in the same place, even though their environment changed.
We let our egos take over, man. You know what I mean? Our egos are so fragile, and we're worried about judgment and opinions, and a lot of times our goals. And that's one of the saddest things. This is one of the reasons why I'm so invested in my business now and like so invested in people, because a lot of these goals that people have are, supposed goals, right? Because they don't even know if that's a goal or not. A lot of these goals are often just other people's goals that they're pursuing. Yeah. Like they grew up and some guy in the neighborhood had a nice car, and that was the successful person in the neighborhood. So their parents always referred to that person as the example of success. So they pushed the kid to become a lawyer or a doctor or whatever the hell, a neurosurgeon. And that's not your goal. A lot of people, and we still do it. Like we see things online on Instagram. But, at the end of the day, make a list. People are listening right now. This is what I would do. And this is what I tell my clients as well. Make a list of all 5 of your goals, whatever your goals are, whatever things that you're kind of pursuing and your dreams and ambitions are, make a list of that. And for each one of those things, right? Like behind it, where it comes from, what's its origin, right?
Yeah.
Is this like, let's say, make 100,000. Okay, but why are you doing that? Is that for you really, or is that to impress someone? Go do this, go do that. Like, you just have to like filter out the ones that aren't truly yours, that aren't serving you. And people are chasing multiple goals that aren't even theirs. You know?
That's a very valid point. I like some people are listening like, Marnick, you think every point Sasha made is great, but I can't fake it. I really love the fact that you say, write down your goals. Okay, a lot of people heard that before, write down your goals, but that you say, and then pinpoint what the origin is.
Think about it.
This is something I didn't even think about. Like, what is the origin? Because ego has a lot to do with it. And you want to have the Bentley on the driveway. Do you want to have the Bentley, or is it your parents that want you to have the Bentley? Yeah.
For parents, a lot of times it's friends. It's, oh my God. And like the Facebook group that I, recently launched, it's only been a couple of days, and all these stories are and I relate to it so much because that's me. That's the former version of me. A lot of it is, I feel so behind. And I'm like, dude, you're 24. Like, what are you talking about? What are you behind? Life is like 80 years long. Like, it's only been like 20%, like 25%. Like relax. It's not even, the first half hasn't even finished yet. Like, right? Like, relax. So it's all like these external stimuli, these external factors that are controlling our lives and are setting our agendas, that are defining our goals. It's painful. It hurts me on a personal level, but
Yeah.
we have to
how do you
we have
cope
to do it. What do you mean?
with those stimulus? Because if I talk to my wife Natalie, we sometimes say that, of course, you can be nostalgic about your youth, and everybody's most people, their youth, or back in the day in the 60s, my parents will say, oh, it was great. And then some people then, oh, the 80s were great. That's normal. But I wouldn't want to be growing up right now. I don't want to be 18 or 21 again in this current society with social media, the external stimulus that you're referring to. Because I think I mean, that's my personal opinion. It's hell right now growing up, because if you look at not only social media, but everything around you, your friends, your school, because it's so global and we're all so connected, I think if you're now growing up, if you haven't released a golden platinum album, if you're able to sing on your 18th birthday, you're a loser. If you haven't started 10 companies by your 25th birthday, you're a loser. How do you cope with that? How do you not get affected, like you said, by that external stimulus, setting your goals for you?
That's a good question, man. That's a really good question. Honestly, I think no, I don't think it. It's a fact. It starts with parenting, right? And this is going to be maybe a little controversial, but I mean, I don't care. Like, do not reproduce if you're massively insecure and you're dealing with massive mental health issues yourself. Do not do it. Go turn inward before you move forward in life. Yeah. I know that's controversial. It's not a popular opinion, because we figure if we reproduce and we create babies, they're going to fix the hole in your soul, and they're not. Yeah. They're just going to put you under a lot more stress, give you a lot of joy, a lot of happiness, meaning, purpose. I get it, but that's the foundation, right? It starts with the parents. So I know what I lacked as a kid, and I don't blame my parents. I love my parents. They did everything to the best of their abilities every day. They struggled. We didn't have shit, but they did the best that they could, given their tools, right? Given their resources. But it starts there. We need to be stronger parents. We need to hold kids accountable and empower them to be their own person, right? Too many of us have become conditioned by the educational system, by media, social media. We've been conditioned to just consume, consume, consume. And we forget that we are in charge. Like, you're in charge, right? So when people come to me like, oh yeah, this is really making me upset, I get it. You think it's just the way it is and we have to accept it, but you don't. Like, if you're as a parent or you as an adult, you have the option to, what I did, I don't follow news. Like, if you're susceptible to feeling shitty, or you feel over excited or overly exposed to too much shit coming in, and if that upsets you, filter it out. Like, start doing that today. It was the biggest life hack for me ever. My happiness went up exponentially. Stop consuming so much media, start creating more, whether that's writing, whether that's, even if you're on Twitter or on Instagram, at least start creating there with intent behind it. Don't just mindlessly sit there, consume the news, mindlessly sit there consuming a million Instagram posts a day. So it's up to the individual. Like, I set up my Instagram and my Twitter to just show what I want to show, things that keep me in a good vibe, in a good energy vibe, right? It's up to us. It's up to the individual. And if once I become a parent, I'm going to make sure my kid has the inner strength and the confidence to be able to withstand all of that. And people are going to sit there and say, oh, that's easier said than done, Sash. But it comes down to massive accountability, massive. It's up to you. Like, we get to decide. We are in control, no one else. It's not social media's fault. It's not the platform's fault. It's you. You are doing it. And I get that in a 17-year-old's context, there's peer pressure and all that. But we can give our kids the tools that they need, give them the weapons they need to defend themselves against all of that stuff. Be accountable, man. You're the master of your story, not social media, not the news, not the government. No, just it's us. It's you, it's me, right?
That's powerful. Yeah. And I understand that you say the first part controversial with the parenting, but it is true with everything, not just parenting. If you're not aligned, using your words, not aligned with yourself, how can you, definitely when it comes to human beings, like, it's already hard enough to raise a cat or dog. They pretty much take care of themselves. But stand alone, a human being, if you're not feeling good or in the right place yourself, like I say, it's not going to fill that gap. And it might sound controversial, but maybe it's even more controversial seeing so many people, not just with children, going to work every day and doing certain stuff in their life, feeling miserable, wasting their time on this planet while they should be. I think that's more controversial than the opinion you just give.
That's a good point, man. That's a good point. We spend about 120 hours a month working on someone else's dreams, right? Your employer, and that's fine. I don't have beef with that. I don't have a problem with that. But when we're miserable and we're not feeling good, how about spending just 1 hour a day, just fixing yourself, fixing your situation? Don't tell me like there's no time. Yeah. There is time. Yeah. There is time. I understand you've got 2 kids. Don't tell me that. Like, you just don't want to make it a priority. But that's self-honesty. Be honest with yourself, right? Like, that's important. And that starts with self-awareness. Self-awareness is the number one building block for everything. There's no point in like setting all these goals if you don't know who you are, if you don't know what you love about yourself, if you don't know what you're good at and what you're bad at. Double down on the things that you're good at and invest in the shit that you're bad at. But you have to like invest in the shit that you're bad at. And that's self-awareness, right? So start being a master of your own story. It's cool to build someone else's dream, but I want you to at least feel good. If you're building someone else's dream 120 hours a month, yeah, and you're sitting at home not feeling good and just mindlessly consuming Netflix and gaming and whatever else that you want to do to escape feeling things, come on, man. Like, let's go. Yeah. And the reason why I started my coaching business, I called it coaching.
He's coach.
Right.
Sorry.
One of the big reasons was because in order to do good in the world, you got to feel good in the world first, right? You cannot do good in the world if you don't feel good. So fill your cup first before you even bother trying doing something else. So I see all these entrepreneurs that are just, honestly, with all due respect, they're just miserable, toxic people. And they're leading teams. And then they're wondering like, oh, why is my team unhappy? Oh, why are they blah, blah, blah. Man, shut the fuck up. Like, don't talk to me. Like, you need, like, let's go. Let's invest in yourself. Let's get help. Right?
Yeah, it's with everything. If I relate it to our business, also storytelling communication, people come to us and say, we want to inspire, like you said, the team. We want to give a super speech at a conference and take the crowd along like Tony Robbins. And then they feel insecure, not good, don't believe in their own story, what they're saying. They're having a bad day. I'm like, how can you, like you say, expect people to cheer you and be all jumpy if you show up with a 3 out of 10? You can't expect it, but people do every day.
No, man. And then you were a big part of that for me personally, and like letting, with the Story Academy, it's showing up and energy levels and setting expectations, or like knowing what to expect from the other people. Like, you can't expect them to react to you a certain way if you're not showing up yourself. It's lead by example, right? So no, it's absolutely right. And I think that's something that we're all really, really missing, like the self-awareness, because the mindset game, and I commend you for getting into that with commend you for investing more into the mindset and like being really interested in all of that, because it is the foundation of it all, right? Like, you're working with all these entrepreneurs. What's the difference between a really successful one and just someone that's like, he's okay, he's doing fine? Like, it's their mindset, dude. They're unstoppable. So
Yeah. I'm also for
so
myself letting it sink in, because like you call it golden nuggets. This is full of golden nuggets, my friend. Also like the
I really appreciate it. I don't expect to hear that, but that's makes me happy that there's something of value in here.
you're laughing yourself like, oh my God, I didn't say anything valuable, but whatever.
Yeah, it's just, to me, I'm like just saying what I say like a million times a day to people, right?
But I think that's also the sign, and not to suck up to you because you're on the podcast, but I think that's also, but it's my personal opinion, a sign that you are doing what you should be doing, because it's the same with what we're doing now with Stand Up Company. If I'm building someone's story, of helping someone to build their story, and this might sound as boasting, but I'm really happy that happens, that people say like, wow, this is really a totally different story. This is you really see what is necessary. And for me, it's like, well, it's obvious. It's just, I'm just repeating your words. This is exactly,
Right.
I just switched it around, and people say like, no, this is, and it's the same for you. You say like, oh, I'm just speaking from my heart. And for me, well, but I think for the listeners and also for me, it's golden nuggets, because it might sound obvious because it's true to you and you have that self-awareness, but for other people, it's like, wow, I never thought about that.
Oh, that's a good point. I mean, I appreciate the kind words, obviously, but that's a good point. Because another thing that helped me like a year and a half ago at the very start of the journey was, Sash, what are you good at? Right? What am I good at that feels like work to others, but it's playing to me? Right? And that's something that's out there a lot, right? But that triggered something inside of me. And I was like, wait, I like telling stories. I like talking, I guess, to some extent, even though I'm kind of an introvert by nature. Once I have confidence, like I really enjoy talking about these kind of things, right? About growth, about challenging yourself and pushing and motivating.
Yeah.
So that feels like playing to me. It doesn't feel like work to me. I can just sit here for 10 hours and talk about all these things and analyze them and trigger people, right? And everyone has something inside of them. Everyone. I don't care who you are. I don't care who's listening right now. You're probably sitting there thinking, I'm an HR, representative. Like what? No, like there's something inside you that you're just not aware of, that you can share or you should share with the world, but you're choosing not to because you think no one gives a crap. We're 7 billion people on this planet. Even if 0.1% of that 7 billion cares about making artwork with nails and ropes, I don't know. That's still thousands, if not millions of people out there. Just got to start doing. You got to take imperfect action. Don't sit there and overanalyze it. Don't worry about what other people are thinking. Don't make a crazy, overwhelming plan. You're not going to do it. Just do some shit for 1, 2, 3 days straight. Feel good about yourself. Tiny little things. And just try something. You're going to start creating dopamine. Let dopamine carry you along the journey. Let it jumpstart your journey. But everyone's got something inside of them. Just start sharing your talents.
To just give an example from a recent, I had to do a conference of highly tech people, developers, and it's the same there. I think people are like, yeah, but if you're in marketing and you're in a sexy business and you're into Amazon and you're Jeff Bezos, it's easier to have goals and purpose and make money and do your thing. But at this conference, and there was this, I can't remember his name. I don't understand what he talked about. It's something with JavaScript. But I had to speak at that conference. And there also, like you said, this person was so in line with himself, was playing, while for others, it's a really difficult language to write. For him, it was just, I don't even think about it. He was so passionate about it. People were paying for it. The world needs it. So your whole Ikigai thing. And he comes on stage and he starts talking about JavaScript and coding, which for me makes absolutely no sense. The people watching went berserk. Not so much of his coding. Of course, he was really good at it, but just he was talking about code. He was live coding, but the way he brought it, the way he talked about it, he was so in love with this whole spreading the world of JavaScript and Spring and whatever it was, that people just ate it up. And the questions he got afterwards, he was wearing his t-shirt from himself. People were saying, like a rock star, can we have your t-shirt? Where can we buy it? Have a web shop. So people are buying shirts from JavaScript developers. And like you said, for us, it's like, I don't really care of what you have to say. But like you said, there are millions of people that are developers, that are into this business. And because you breathe this, they relate to you and to your energy and not just your coding. And that was, for me, a perfect example of what you just said.
Yeah, man, that's perfectly said. That's 100% what I mean. And we just choose to not believe it. And it's those self-limiting, self-defeating beliefs that I think, honestly, 100% of us in the world deal with.
Yeah.
Maybe like 10% of us kind of like fight through them and are self-aware, right? So we figure out ways to acknowledge it. It's there. We figure out mechanisms to overcome those self-limiting beliefs. But it's a shame that 90% of us are stuck and will forever be stuck, right? I just try to like bring that number down from 90% to 70% by the time my story on planet Earth is done.
With 5 books later to live on for.
Yeah, writing books.
There you go.
Yeah, why not? Icky why?
It's gonna be there. Make it matter more. I don't want to be your coach. I want to be on your team. Stacking up the whys. You have all your chapters ready, man. Now looking at the time, of course we can go on for ages because it's really hot topics and a lot of golden nuggets. And I just know that this is helping people that are listening right now. It's also helping me, which is always fun to learn a lot in an episode. Now, if we let's assume for a second that people that are listening, they made the click. They're like, okay, I am looking at myself now. I'm aligning myself. I know what I want, what my values are. This is a bit my personal wise, my global wise. I'm looking at my job and my relationships. Does it all fit? I'm looking at my fears. Do I need to confront them or not? What is there? You know why you're doing it. You know you have to take accountability. You put off Facebook and the news because you want to be happy. I'm just summing everything up we've been said. And you take accountability and you set yourself, and now we come back to what we were discussing earlier. You set yourself goals because you want to fulfill that purpose by the end of your time on this planet. So you set yourself goals. What's the easiest way to set, maybe you already answered that a bit, but what's the easiest way to set those goals? And most importantly, accountability probably has something to do with that. How do you achieve these goals? Because I mentioned the New Year's resolutions, but what's the number one thing in New Year's resolutions? We all set goals, and after a month, they're gone. So I can imagine if I'm your client and you ask me to set goals, how can I, or what are your tips and tricks to make sure that at the end of the year, I actually reached some goals in function of my purpose?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it's a fair question. Because it's one of the most important things, obviously, in life. You know, if we talk about mindset, and then if you don't know how to do this, then it's not going to work. It doesn't matter what we talk about, what we said. So people struggle because they think their motivation is just going to carry them from point A to point B, right? It doesn't work like that. It's your dopamine, your quick boost of momentum is going to carry you for a little bit, and then it's just going to simmer out and you're just going to give up, right? And then it's January 7th and you're like, I'll just do it next month, next year, whatever. So I think I mentioned it before. It's instead of setting vague goals, set very specific goals, right? I think that's what we're getting at, right? Like how to go about the process.
Yeah, and then how you
right. So set a very specific goal. I'll stick to the example of the weight loss or whatever, because I think it's like kind of simple. Or it could be something else. Like let's say you want to make $10,000 in a month. You make $10,000. You can't say, oh, I just want to make more money by next year. You say, I want to make $10,000 from clients that have purchased before, right? So that's fair. That's a lot more specific. So repeat customers, let's go. Because why? Because that's trackable. You know what I mean? Progress, you need to be able to see your progress. You need data to be able to keep you pumped, keep you motivated. If you don't have that and it's just something vague, you're going to stop caring. You're going to not hold yourself accountable. You're going to be like, I think I'm kind of going in the right direction. No, when you have a very specific number, specific goal, like if you're making a decision, ask yourself again, is this bringing me closer to that 10,000 a month from repeat customers? If no, then don't do that shit. If yes, go all in, right? So that's the first thing. You have to focus on habits. So create habits that enable that. Like if you say, okay, that's my goal. Let's say we go back to the weight loss example. Say you want to lose 20 pounds by June 1st. Let's reverse engineer it. What's needed then? Okay, I need to lose some weight. Okay, that means like I have to learn a little bit about nutrition, right? That means I need to start meal prepping. Maybe I should work out a little bit, go on walks, right? So it's very specific. 19 pounds by June 1st. You figure out what skills you need to invest in, right? Be self-aware, like list what you know and what you don't know. The things that you know, working out, double down on that, go hard. The things that you don't know, accept the fear, embrace the challenge, and start investing in that new skill. And that new skill in this weight loss example is figure out nutrition, learn a little bit, find a coach that can teach you, whatever. You just reverse engineer it. Envision the goal and reverse engineer the steps, and then identify the skills that you need to get there, and then start learning those skills. But the crucial factor is to build a positive relationship with the process. If you don't like the process, you're never going to last. That's why having a specific goal is so important, because you see little incremental improvements day by day. That little progress that you're making will keep you motivated. You'll be like, oh man, out of my 2 or 3 to-dos today, not 10. That's a mistake that a lot of people make. They set 10 to-dos for that day. They get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
They spend more time in their to-do list than they do in actually, scratching off the actual to-dos. So break it down to 2 or 3 for that day. Feel good about yourself, gain more confidence, and ride the dopamine wave. I know, I was kind of like all over the place, but that's the process. Honestly, it's not, we overcomplicate it. We're so perfectionist. Perfectionism kills. It kills dreams. It kills your physical health. It kills your emotional health. Stop being a perfectionist. I always call it, imperfect action. Be an imperfectionist rather than a perfectionist. Give yourself permission to fuck up. Give yourself permission to make mistakes. Those mistakes and those fuck ups, at the end of the day, they're data. They're data that you can analyze, you can learn from them, and you can optimize your process. What you do between 6 and 10 p.m., read the data, tweak your habits, just go to work. But give yourself credit. You're doing it. You're taking imperfect action massively. Be proud, be confident, and you'll get there. That's how I go about it, and that's how I push people that I work with to get there. So stop getting overwhelmed, because the overwhelm typically just kills them.
Yeah, you freeze up and nothing happens, and you're in the same spot after so many times. That's good. And even though you experience maybe all over the place, it's really structured. And I think if there are people listening right now, this is almost a how-to guide. If you wrote this down and if you re-listen to the podcast, it's a how-to guide on how to work with your goals. Yeah, and I can also relate with you have so many to-dos and you're like, I'm so proud of all the to-dos I'm going to do today. You never do them all. And like you said, you're more organizing your to-dos and writing them down and checking your mailbox and losing time. And in the end, you're watching Netflix because you got overwhelmed and another day has passed.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. Like every time we get overwhelmed, we try to run away. Yeah. Right? It ties back to the earlier topic of fear and embracing and accepting it. Next time it comes and you get overwhelmed, say, fuck yeah, let's go. This feeling is here. This is the point where I would always give up, always. But this identity, this person that I want to become, he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't give up. So stop focusing. This is also something that I tell my clients. Stop focusing so much on the goals. Start focusing on who you need to become. Right? Because if you keep setting goals and you're the same person every week, every month, you're going to keep messing it up. So start thinking like the person that you want to be that achieves these goals, that's actually doing it. And let that hypothetical behavior, that hypothetical person inspire your actions right now. So next time you get overwhelmed, know that the perfect version of Marnick is going to be like, oh, I'm overwhelmed now. You know what? I'm going to sit here and I'm going to fucking do it. I'm just going to allow the fear to come and I'm going to overcome it. I'm going to go right through it. The obstacle isn't a way, it's the way, right? It's the only way. Like I said, that's one of the first things that we said, growth happens when we're uncomfortable. Growth happens when we're overcoming fear. And this whole goal setting thing, this whole accomplishing goal thing is that's what it comes down to. So focus on who you want to become, more so even than what goals are you trying to achieve.
Nice, man. Seriously, I'm going all silence. I'm really listening in awe and it's making sense.
Dude, I'm talking so much. And I really apologize. I'm gonna rewatch all of this and be like, Sash, dude, just let people talk.
I would stop you. I'm experienced enough in this hosting, if it's podcast or whatever, to stop you when I'm like, oh my God, this is going nowhere. But I'm also, if I have the feeling that not only for me, but also for the audience, this is really valuable, and I know you just need to shut up for a second, then I will and I let the person talk. And it's not live, so I can just cut everything out and just do the introduction, and then for the rest I'll do a monologue myself. No, it's really good. I also want to wrap it up there, also due to timing, but also because we're full circle. Like we came back to what we said in the beginning, and I think it's also this bombshell for the audience to end it, saying like if they already, if you're feeling pumped and feeling great and you got something out of this episode, great. If you're not in that place right now, you're not aligned, as Sasha said, and you already go to work with everything that has been said in this last 1.5 hours, I assume, man, you will become a long way. I think this is super we covered so much. So I think I'd also don't want to overwhelm, like you said, people with even more stuff. I would just say contact Sasha and dive deeper on a one-on-one, on a call intake, because there's more to discover, and we'll probably have you on a podcast again. But I think if they start with this and talk to you further, that they will come a long way. So my last question for you is, and now you can talk again, is what is your personal next step goal? Of course, building your business, but what is next for you now?
This point, I would say it's growing the Facebook group, growing my Twitter. If anyone wants to like learn more or get to know me a little better, if you go on Twitter, you'll get to know me, because that's where I go hard on all these topics. I'm very passionate about all of them, as you can tell. So if you want to get to know me, just come on there, give me a follow, DM me. I love to just get in conversations with people, right? And I'm trying to like actively grow the Facebook group. That's the one I just launched like 2 days ago. And it's just pretty much like free coaching, right? I drop videos in there. There's a free three-part video course in there. Starts with like the intro to self-awareness, stuff like that. It's really good stuff. There's a lot of interesting people in there, people that are offering advice and looking for advice, all alike. So yeah, those are growing the platform that I'm trying to build from the ground up, really. I'm not even, worried about, I need to get 5 clients or that. No, I just want to put as much value out there as possible. That's the goal for right now.
Nice. So if you're listening to this and you want to add on that, jump into the Facebook group, to connect on Twitter, add value yourself, connect with Sasha, do that. I will put also all the link and your social accounts on the YouTube description, in the Spotify, Apple Podcasts description. So we'll be there. So you don't have to worry that you're going to miss anything. We'll connect with that. Yeah, I would do that. I think that's the best next step for if this, even though, like you said, if 7 billion people would listen to this podcast and only a couple related and said, let's do this, then it succeed. If we can get 5 people to say, like, I'm going to change my life right now, I'm going to align with myself, and I'm going to do things differently, it's also already a success. So and connecting with you helps.
100%.
That. There you go. Then the goal of this episode was a good one.
Exactly. That's ultimately that's what it's about, man. It's helping people. I'm just out here trying to serve people, honestly. Yeah, sure, we get paid for it, but I wouldn't be fulfilled if it wasn't in service of other people. So the vision is all based on that. So if I can even out of your audience help one person out there, that's amazing, dude. Like that's all we're trying to do.
Cool. And if we can help you like boost the business that you're all, because you already have like coachees or clients or whatever you want to call it. So you've been doing this for a while now, but now, like I said, it's structured and there's a whole system in place, and we're going to connect to that system. Sasha, super thanks. We can talk for hours. I'm going to get you back on a podcast. Also, I'll share with the reactions what people are saying. Hope to connect with you. Super valuable content. I keep repeating it. I hope you write all the quotes that you said here. Or I'll send them to you, because every quote can be a chapter in your book. And I'm not pushing you to write a book, but I think that it's touching upon something that's so hot right now in society, and it's so needed for people. So thank you very much.
Thank you, bro. I really appreciate you giving me this little, this platform to spread the message and spread the word out into the world, because it's something the world needs, right? Instead of polarizing, instead of negativity, instead of fear, let's try to be more positive. Let's try to turn inward, turn to ourselves, turn to the individual, and empower ourselves to be able to do good in the world. So I thank you. I really appreciate this opportunity. It was really fun. Let's do this again.
There you go.
Right?
You're most welcome.
For sure. All right, man.
Also for the audience, thank you for listening. Next podcast is gonna be. I'm also looking forward to that one. It's gonna be a trend watcher. There you go. So we're gonna see what new trends business-wise are gonna happen in the world. So if you want to listen to that, connect with us. It's gonna launch next month. January is Sasha month. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening. Connect with us, standupcompany.com or the social media. Sasha, thank you, and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Later, guys. Bye.
Are you listening? Damn.